What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be Married to Medicine, the reunion part 3, the final chapter. We're going to be doing this a little differently because we're having a snowstorm in this area, and I have DirecTV. And if anybody who has DirecTV, y'all know what that means. That means that my DirecTV is out. So they helped me. I don't know. They did something so that I do have I can see my shows, but they're not taping. So I normally watch my show. I normally let the show tape, then I can watch it so I can fast forward through the commercials and everything. But I've had to do this in real time. So anyway, y'all, it's been a lot, but it's cool. We here. So the reunion starts off where we left off last week with the whole showdown between Dr. Greg and Quad. And to be perfectly honest with you, they gave us the good parts in the previews. The whole sex issue they didn't really talk about. Gregory said that, Quad tried to say Gregory was lying about the fact that they hadn't had sex in years. Greg said, nope, I remember that we had sex on this day, and we tried to have sex on that day, but it didn't work. She said, oh, was that the day that I ran down the steps crying, blah, 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 blah. He was like, yep, that was probably it. So it sounds to me like Greg was telling the truth, because Greg was like, it was this day, and that day. He was like, even when we went on our last anniversary vacation, and we weren't in a good place, and I was still trying to do this and do that, and so then she finally just kind of cut him off or whatever. So sound like Greg might have been telling the truth about the whole sex thing. Not that it's any of our business, but we all know that in a relationship, I know for me, if I'm not feeling you, I ain't feeling you. You know what I'm saying? And so she talked about the interview he did on the radio, which I saw that interview and I was just like, Lord have mercy. My biggest problem with Greg is Greg don't never want to own shit. He never wants to be like, you know what, I fucked up and I'm sorry. He always has an excuse. He always has another, well, this happened, that happened, well, you did this and you did that. Instead of just owning his own shit. Like, we know Quad ain't perfect, because nobody's perfect. So we know Quad's not perfect. But for you just not to own nothing and make it seem like you didn't do anything to this woman, you didn't have it. So they talked about that. Then they talked about the abuse piece, which got really scary because, and I remember Dr. Heavenly, and because she does reviews of the show, and one of the things she said in her reviews was that there were a lot of things that were going on in the marriage that weren't made public, but the girls knew about. And so for them to say some of the things that they said or do some of the things that they did as regards to Quad's marriage and how she acted with everybody was very insensitive. But see, Dr. Heavenly is doing her reviews after the reunion, and so she knows what came out at the reunion. So she knows about all that stuff that came out at the reunion. But Quad said herself that she didn't confide in the girls about a lot of the physical abuse. So maybe there were other things that Dr. Heavenly was talking about, but as far as the physical abuse, we didn't really hear a lot. So anyway, the timeline is what it is, but it does seem like when they were filming this, the girls may not have been privy to a lot of the abuse and things of that nature, whereas they found out about it after the fact. But neither here nor there. That was very interesting to find out that we know that they had physical fights before the marriage, because that came out the season 1 that Quad had a damn mugshot from when he called the police on her. So it seems like that's always been a part of their relationship, which is just not healthy. That goes without saying. Duh, that's not healthy. We have she pulled a knife on him. He drug her through the house. He had his hand over her mouth and was suffocating her. Like, it just sounded like it was some real dark times with them. And, one of the things that came out was, yes, they both still love each other, but that is just not enough, nor is it always a healthy situation. You can love somebody, but that does not mean that person needs to be in your life at all. And so that's kind of where we end up with that. Quad does admit that she still has feelings for Greg. She's like, it's crazy. Why do I still feel that way? But that shit don't turn off overnight. Y'all been through a lot. Y'all put up with a lot from each other. It doesn't turn off overnight. Loving somebody and acting on that love, that is two different things. And I don't think that Quad has any intention of acting on her feelings for Greg. I think the divorce is over. I think it's a wrap. I think it's a finito. But that was just very interesting to see and very sad. Very sad to see. But they ended on a good note. They had a pleasant conversation. They had a hug. And so that was cool. And to be honest with you, it was cool and everything. But like I said, I just feel like they gave us the best parts in the previews. Then the couples come back. And let me tell y'all something. I'm so sick of people who are so stuck in being mad at somebody or being on a side that they can't accept shit for what it is. So they were talking about the abuse. Quad wasn't back out there yet, and Greg was not out there, Dr. Greg. But they were talking about it, and somebody said something about hitting her. Mariah and Toya gonna say, he never said. First, Mariah gonna say, well, y'all need to be careful with that whole abuse thing because that's just that hasn't been confirmed. And Bravo Andy was like, yeah, both of them admitted that they abused each other, and they even played back a clip where both of them said, yes, we were both abusive to each other. So I don't know what more you need, Miss Mariah. And then then somebody said something about Greg hitting her. He never said he hit her. He never said he hit her. Y'all need to be careful throwing that around. He never said that. And I'm like, what? Like, y'all are so, and Dr. Heavenly said it. She was like, y'all real good at forgiving, at excusing some shit. And I feel the same way. I'm like, what more needs to be said? What more needs to be said? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, Gregory admitted that he put his hands on Quad. That should be the end of it. That should be the end of the conversation. Why are we making excuses? Why are you coming up with if, and, or buts? That thing, I ain't understand that one. That one, whoo, boy. And it was Toya, and it was that damn Mariah. Anyway, and Jackie said, one thing Contessa said, she said, had I known about the physical abuse, I would not have been encouraging her to try to make it work and to, try to work on her marriage, because that's not something I would have encouraged. And, Jackie said, time heals all wounds. It doesn't mean y'all need to be together, but hopefully y'all can get to a place where y'all can be friendly or friends. You know how Jackie is. All right. Now we talking about Toya in this damn house. I'm happy for Toya, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm happy for Toya. So then we talked about, Toya and Contessa. They did their whole back and forth. They talked about the house. Okay, it's cool. She got the house. She got, the 2-story closet. She got everything. That's cool. Happy for her. They talked about her finances and everything. So then they, and was she moving too fast and all that good stuff. So then we went to the Contessa situation. And, I tend to lean towards Contessa on this situation, except for the boob gate, I guess. Because, Toya, you petty, and you expect your loyalty tests are unrealistic, and it's just not, it doesn't make sense. I think at the end of the day, Toya saw that footage from the end of last season where Contessa made the smart comment about her having a party about her finances, and she carried that shit into this season, and so it didn't matter what Contessa did, it was going to be wrong. But at the end of the day, if you and Contessa were really friends, like you tried to kept saying that y'all were friends before the show, then when you saw that woman was going through something, all that shit should have been put out the window, and you should have went to her. Her father having cancer, her having the double mastectomy, her going through recovery from that, her sort of not being a part of the group for whatever her reasons were. You should have put all that shit aside, and if you were that type of friend. But you were so hell-bent on being stuck on being mad at her that you could not let it go long enough to be a friend to her. And I think that's really what that boiled down to. Toya, I just think that's what it boiled down to. So that's where that was. they talked about Quad and Toya's friendship, and Quad was like, just love on me a little bit more, and we can get back to where we were. And even then, Toya was like, really? You sure? Really? Quad was like, yeah. So it ain't a whole lot there, y'all. I'm sorry. Like I said last week, they could have combined these two episodes. So it ain't. This is a short review because it just wasn't a lot there for me. I could sit here and talk for a few more minutes to make it longer, but ain't no need in doing that. Anyway, so that's Married to Medicine. That's the end of this season. They're doing a spinoff, Married to Medicine LA, I think it is. So I'm sure that'll be. I'm surprised they weren't hyping it up and showing clips throughout this episode, but maybe they don't have enough ready yet. So I'm not sure when that's going to drop, but we'll see. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Peace.